Welcome to the Brandon and Carlos Show. I am Brandon. I am here today with my co-host Carlos.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
On the last podcast, we discussed the Gayle King interview with Lisa Leslie and how it sparked anger in the black community and amongst black entertainers. Snoop Dogg was really hard on Gayle. He called her a B and some other names. Yes, I believe she brought up the rape allegations during the most awkward and insensitive time. However, should she be called out of her name? Haven't we as black people been called out of our names enough? We will start off today by talking about a new segment, though, that we're going to add to our show called Musical Moments with Los. Carlos, since that's your part of the show, go ahead and tell us about Musical Moments with Los.
All right, well, Musical Moments with Los is a segment that we're going to have periodically in our shows that highlight different indie artists that we believe need to be heard. And so we're going to use our platform in which to do so. Our first indie artist today is my good friend, Jamar Plummer from Indianapolis, Indiana, and his song is called So In Awe of You.
Hey, this is your boy Jamar Plummer, a.k.a. J Plum, on the Brandon and Carlos Show. Check out my new single, So In Awe of You.
Tell you how much I really love you. Thank you for giving me my song. I just wanna thank you for your protection. You never left me alone. When I think about all you've done for me, how you lose these fears and set this captive free, I am so in awe of you, and my soul belongs to you. My heart is in debt to you forevermore. I just want to tell you how much I want and need you. You light my soul on fire. There's so many words that I could use to describe you. You are my heart's desire. When I think about all you've done for me, how you lose these fears and set this captive free.
All right, so that was So In Awe of You by Jamar Plummer. Go check him out on all streaming platforms. We'll have the link on our Facebook page. Again, that was Jamar Plummer, So In Awe of You. All right, so to get to the topic at hand, the question is, Are we as black people too hard on each other? Why or why not? I believe that we are. As we talked about last episode when we were dealing with the Gayle King controversy, and various people have come on from Snoop Dogg to other entertainers and just other people in general, and just saying how we, not going to deal with Gayle, and it was just it got kind of ugly. Snoop Dogg calling out her name. He since apologized for that. He said it was in the heat of the moment. He was emotional over Kobe's passing, as we all were. But what it does, it presents a divided front amongst ourselves to the rest of the world. So I wanted to dive into that and really just think about and figure out how we got to the point of being so hard on ourselves. I remember growing up, I was raised by my grandparents. My mother, of course, was there, but I was raised by my grandparents. And my grandfather just made 84, and my grandmother is 79. And they taught me that whatever I did, I represented first God, then them, then myself, and then my race. And then, not only that though, but I have to be better than my counterparts, than my Caucasian counterparts, and I had to be better by like a wide margin. That's what they taught me, because that's what was taught to them. I think that mentality has been taught, if they taught that to me, I'm not the only one who's been taught that. And because of that mentality, we hold each other to such a high standard, because we understand that the rest of the world holds us to that same standard. And to a certain degree, I understand it. But to the other side of it, why is it that when we view somebody has, done something, even if it was wrong, I believe it was done in poor taste with Gayle King in her interview, but that didn't constitute me calling her out her name, a B, or any other derogatory term. I thought it was distasteful, and I'm not sure what her MO was, but I'm not going to go to the point of dogging her in social media or in the media, or the world can see that. Snoop Dogg and his other counterparts, they're big enough and have a platform big enough to where they can reach out to Gayle King and handle that in-house. And I think that's what should have been done. And in his apology, he said that he was going to do that. But I feel like the damage has kind of already been done because of what was said. And Gayle King, she had to feel, the ramifications of that. And sometimes I think the price is a little steep. What do you think, Brandon?
Well, I do think that, let me say it like this. When on our last show, you remember I made the little comment, I hope Snoop Dogg is listening, because he was wrong, basically, and he needs to apologize. And he did consequently apologize. I don't believe as a result of our show. I don't want to think that haughty of our show right now. Maybe one day. However, he did make the apology. And I listened to his apology. And he made the apology based upon a conversation he had with his mother, which I was so proud of Snoop, for actually listening to his mother. Wow. I think you should listen to your mother, especially if she's telling you the right thing. You can even listen to her if she's telling you the wrong thing and just not do that. You know what I mean? But she told him whatever she told him, it got the fear of God in him on that. And then he apologized to Gayle King. I said that to say that when I heard him call her a B, the first thing that popped up in my mind was, wow, that's somebody's, like, what if someone called my mother that? You know, granted, I was angry at Gayle King for bringing up the rape allegation, especially when it didn't become of anything.
Right.
In the time of his death, where his legacy could potentially be tarnished by that, you know, her bringing that back up.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. But then again, I felt that Snoop was too harsh on her by calling her a B. I mean, at some point in your life, you have to have some sort of values. Whether you be a Christian, Buddhist, or a Hinduist, or whatever, even if you don't believe in anything, surely something there should be wholesome inside of you to treat another individual with respect and dignity. Albeit we do say stuff when we're angry that we can't take back. He can't take back those words. But he did apologize, and I believe he was sincere. I honestly do. But your question is deeper than just the Gayle King thing.
Definitely.
This is Black History Month, and obviously I know I'm proud that I'm a black man. And,
most definitely.
And I'm proud of my heritage. However, one thing that I'm ashamed of that I feel, and this is my opinion, that I feel that we do as a people, as black people, is we're so quick to put down our brothers or our sisters. We put our mouths on our brothers and sisters, and we're too hard. I mean, we're too hard. This just happened to me today before we came into the studio, Carlos. Mm-hmm. My wife and I, we went to get something to eat. And as we were driving in the neighborhood on the way home from the restaurant, we saw, and it's a really great concept, what I'm about to tell you. But we saw where it's basically a library, a free library. It's a little cabinet that someone builds, and they put it outside, close to the street, and it has a sign on it that, you know, you can borrow a book or bring it back, you know, and once you borrow a book, bring it back and you can get another book. Right. You know, it's not a store or anything like that. I mean, it's just literally a cabinet sitting on the side of the streets. I think it's a great idea. They have it everywhere. Mm-hmm. But my wife, she was like, oh, I would love to have one of those in our neighborhood, but I hope they don't get it. If we did that, they'll get destroyed. You know, our kids, they'll destroy it. And I had to stop her and say, well, what makes you think that our kids would destroy them more so than the kids of the neighborhood that we saw it in?
Right.
And then I started to think about the question that Malcolm asked in one of his discourses. He said, who has taught you to hate yourself?
Right.
And so I believe that as a people, we are hard on ourselves. And maybe this is a discussion that, I mean, it's going to, I'm getting kind of uncomfortable talking about it even now, because, you know, there's going to be people from the black community and the white community listening to the show.
Right.
But it's time to just be honest. As a people, we are too hard on each other. And we say things like, say, for example, someone was, you needed a plumbing job done. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we'll try to give, some of us as black people will try to give a black plumber the job.
Right.
But then a lot of times I've heard people make the comments, well, you can't give the black plumber the job because he won't do it as well. And, you know, you'll have to check his work. Am I making sense? I mean, have you heard comments like that?
I've heard that. I've heard that my whole life. And just in general, how we always feel like either it's not going to be done well, it's not going to be done right, or they just not going to know how to run business properly.
They're not going to show up on time.
Exactly.
they're not going to clean up after themselves. And maybe some of our listeners have heard some of these same comments, and we make these comments about ourselves. I mean, think about being on time. Let's use that for example. Haven't you heard of something called CPT? CP time?
Yeah.
Like our band, we got to do a show next week. And I was guilty of asking this question. I asked the host, now, are we going to start on the time that is on the flyer, or are we going to start on CP time? And for those of our audience that are very confused on what we're talking about, what CP time is colored people time.
Which means it's going to be late.
Which means it's going to be late. I mean, we've been saying this stuff for years, and it's self-degrading.
I think it's been indoctrinated into us, really.
Right. Now, I saw something. Behind every stereotype, there's some truth. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can go along with that. Because, yes, there are a lot of functions that we do as black people that don't start on time.
Right.
But, I mean,
like cookouts.
Yeah, cookouts.
Don't ever show up to a cookout on
don't
time.
show up on time. But are you supposed to show up on time? I mean, really, think about it. Like, do you really go to your cookout? Like, if I had a cookout, and I know I'm telling the truth because I've had a cookout, and you were late. Was it a cookout or some type of dinner I had for the band, and you was late? Yeah. Okay, all right, so let's do something. We're about to do a case study. All right, so that's one time Carlos was late. All right, so now, and I'm saying this, and he's laughing, and we're both laughing because I think we can both agree that I'm the one that's more particular when it comes to time, because I promise you all, I try my best to be on time everywhere I go, even if it's a nonchalant, off the record type event. Like if Carlos said, "Come on, let's go grab some ice cream." Well, if he told me we get grabbing ice cream at 8:00 in the morning, I'm gonna be up at why would we?
I don't know. Ice cream at 8:00.
I don't know, but I mean, if we were getting ice cream at 8:00 in the morning, I guarantee you, I will be calling. And I do this. I text him, "Where are you?" I mean, you know, it's 7:50. It's 7:55, and he's like, "Dude, I got 5 more minutes." But I'm like, "You're not here because if you're on time, you're late."
Thank you, Drumline.
You feel me? Online is when you're online. On time is when you are early, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, so he was late to that thing. All right, so then, but see, you can't, that's so unfair to say that all black people start stuff late, because our church
starts on time
every Sunday.
We start 6 minutes early every Sunday.
Every Sunday we start 6 minutes early, or maybe like 5, playing soft music, and then the deacons get up and say their beautiful prayers, and then we start church. All right, and so what ends up happening is that's consistent, and we are a black church. The last time I checked,
that's true.
And I'm not saying it to say that white. Oh, I probably shouldn't say that. We are a multicultural church that just happens to have a lot of black people that attend.
Black.
Yes, but that we accept everybody. Anybody can come to our church, and we have a lovely church. We get in here and start, and we get out. That's one thing I love about my church. Carlos he plays the drums here, but he goes to another church, and they be in there for a long time. There's nothing wrong with it. I love it. Woo! But you know, I've gotten to the point. I love my little Baptist church because we're gonna get out of here. And in time to go out to eat before y'all get out of y'all services. But anyway, so just by me sharing that about my church, and we are a black organization, well, we're not late. So that should kind of dispel the whole CP time.
Like I said, it's a stereotype. Not all black folk are late.
Right.
That's
the point.
That's just
really
the
point that I'm trying to make.
Right. But going back to what we were saying, I think, again, one of the reasons why we kind of have developed this mindset is because it was handed down to us throughout the generations. You love this quote. Who taught you to hate yourself?
Yeah, man.
Who taught you to hate yourself? And if you really look at it, like another example I was looking into, Tyler Perry just did Netflix movie, and there was a lot of people talking about that. And
one when sorry to interrupt, but the one where the guy was in the extract and he was drinking water out of the cup, but there was no water in the cup, but he did it so well, like
that. So, but I remember probably about 10 years ago now, Spike Lee was on Tyler Perry's head about Tyler Perry and what he was presenting as far as Madea. And everybody understands that, it's Tyler Perry dressed up as a woman. And even if you agree with, males dressing up as women for comedy or whatever.
Or if that's their lifestyle.
Or if that's their lifestyle.
Right.
He didn't have to come out into the media and say that's buffoonery and coonery and all that other stuff. Because at the end of the day, Tyler Perry is creating jobs for black folk.
Right.
At the end of the day, he's creating content that is black folk, both small and big screen.
And that's what I couldn't understand. He acted as if white actors haven't done that.
Exactly.
Like Robin Williams, wasn't he Mrs. Doubtfire?
Yep. It's been several others.
There have been others.
There's been several others. And like I said, to a certain degree, I understand where Spike was coming from. But by the same token, if there's an alt between you and your brother, go to your brother, because they're both respected directors in their own right.
Right.
And Spike has been at it way longer.
Yes.
Way longer. And Tyler has come and basically made his own seat at the table.
What was your favorite Spike Lee movie?
My favorite Spike Lee movie is two of them. It's Malcolm X.
Oh yeah.
And School Days.
Oh yeah. Malcolm X is probably my favorite. Yeah, it is my favorite. And then Crooklyn.
Crooklyn is definitely top 5.
Crooklyn.
Yeah, but I love School Days and how they talked about, the Greek organizations.
Is the
whole 9 yards of that, the jigaboos and the wannabes.
Right.
Yeah. So, but going back to it, it's just we got to be more careful about what we present to the rest of the world, because going back to what my grandparents said, they already see us as less than. And so if we're not presenting a united front, they understand that we're already divided. So we're going to keep getting picked off one by one. And it's sad.
I think that we are very hard on each other. I do. And the whole Gayle King thing, that's the most fresh thing that we have. Right. But other people have said it. I think it's wrong when we call Oprah a sellout, because some people call her that.
Yeah.
I think she's a... So what am I trying to say? We should be proud of our heritage.
Right.
Not so much that we cover up what our race does.
Right. Well, we should still take responsibility.
So
for what
if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Right.
Okay.
But there's a way to go about it.
There's a way to go about it, but you can still do so with pride.
Right.
And with not, my mother had this saying. She said, when you leave this house, you don't tell what goes on in this house. Mm-hmm. She had this her favorite saying to us was, don't air your dirty laundry out so the world can see it. I'm going to repeat that. Don't air your dirty laundry out so that the world can see it. Mm-hmm. Basically what she was saying is keep those private things in the house. Okay, so what am I saying? With us as a people, yes, we have our problems with each other. Yeah. Gayle, we had a problem with Gayle. But I'm suggesting that we keep that amongst ourselves until we work out this race thing. Because listeners, I'm treading around it, but I must go ahead and say the race issue, racism, that devil, that ideology, that wickedness has not been fixed.
No.
I don't, and I frankly, I don't think it's ever going to be fixed. I think it can get better, but I don't think it can be eliminated because it's an idea. And an idea you don't eliminate ideas. They just become far and few between. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because there are still people who, I mean, they hate Jewish people. You know, so what I'm saying is, let us as a people, as a race, keep our disgruntledness amongst ourselves, until we can
And quit putting everything in the media.
and quit. Yes, and quit putting it, because that's making a laughing stock of us. I think, you know, that's my perspective. Is that okay? Wow, they're laughing at each other. They're not supporting each other. You don't see. I hate to make comparisons, but Donald Trump, he's hanging on to his homeboy Roger Stone. I mean, he is.
I mean,
he's
I like it like
maybe
this.
that's a bad analogy, but he's hanging on to him. He's got his back.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, I like it like this. When when my grandparents always said, when you're going out, remember everything you do, whether right or wrong, represents your race. I don't care if you're a custodian. I don't care if you're the CEO. Everything that we do, whether we like it or not, represents us as black people. That's just the harsh reality of the world we live in. And I think if we had that mentality, because it's there whether we want to recognize it or not, but if we kept that in the forefront of our minds, then we wouldn't be so quick to, air each other out. Now, there's different mediums of airing each other out. Like, yes, Gayle King should have been held responsible for what she did.
Of course,
she should have.
Yes,
or even Jussie Smollett, that situation, that's still ongoing. That's a whole other one. And
they got him.
Yeah, but he should be held responsible for what he did. I'm not saying we shouldn't hold our own responsibility.
Right.
No. But what I am saying is the punishment got to fit the crime. Like I gave you the example of Chrisette Michele last time.
Right.
And she was just going to the inauguration ball, to perform whatever her reasoning was. But why did you have to tell her and call her a sellout? I mean, usually I understand that, President Trump is not our favorite president and he might,
right.
I understand that. But guess what? He's still the president of the
That's
United
right.
States.
And can I say something?
Go ahead.
Let me say this. And I have people, friends, and someone probably that's going to be listening to this podcast actually voted for Trump. And he's black. There are, obviously there has to have been some black people that voted for him.
That is true.
While it's I didn't, I just go ahead and put it out there. I didn't. Well, that's it. Our time's out. However, we're going to pick right back up next week, and we're going to continue to ask the question, why are African Americans too hard on each other? Before we go, I just want to leave you with this somewhat of a charge to my black audience, our black audience. The next time you hire a black contractor or whatever, try not to use stereotypes. Matter of fact, not try, but don't use stereotypes. Give the person a chance. Don't assume that just because they're black, they're going to have shoddy work, or just because they're black, they're not going to show up on time. And to our white listening audience, I charge you with this. Give us a chance to reconcile our pain and our hurt. I know you feel like that, some may feel like that we should just get over racism and just move on. We're trying. But the race is not finished yet. There's still much to be accomplished. And my charge to you is, instead of saying, just get over it, why not come along with us and join us and help us work out this cruelty that we have in our history? Help us figure out how to reconcile the pain, how to get rid of the stereotypes. That's it for our segment today. Again, thank you for tuning in. If you want to check out, I really do want you to check out the song that was played today. you can go to our Facebook page. On the comment that we're going to use, well, the post that we're going to use to share this podcast, you will find out how to download that song. Please go and support the artist. As Carlos said, we're going to have for periodically indie artists. We believe that we should support our indie artists. They need our help to get their music out there. And we're not just going to be doing gospel. We're going to be doing all types. If you shoot, we might have something like a violinist up in here just going to town. We're going to support them. Anybody that's indie artists. And that's something that Carlos is going to take care of. It's going to be called Musical Moments with Los. If you're wondering where Los came from, that's what they call him back home in Indy. I call him Carlos, but that's his nickname. Y'all probably call him Los back home, but I call him Carlos. Anyway, that's it. Take care. We'll see you again.